Yo, what is up guys, it's Ghost here, and today as promised we have the update 5.2 patch notes to go over. They have just been released, so we're going to go into everything there. As you guys will probably know from yesterday's video, we are of course getting the Hourglass rework. We're getting a lot of changes to the vault weapons, the SMGs and the LMGs, attachments, some rebalancing there as well, and then there's some also really interesting changes to the vehicles and also the ammo and the medic crate. So we're going to get into all of the sort of smaller changes towards the end of the patch notes that are nevertheless very impactful for the game and indeed for you as a player. Before we get started though, as always, if you guys do enjoy the content here on the channel, don't forget to leave the video a like, and of course if you want to see more of the same, then hit that subscribe button. Doesn't cost anything and it is a massive help to me here on the channel. We are trying to hit 17,000 subs at the moment. I think we're like 100 away, so any help you guys can give me in that regard is always very much appreciated. So obviously the big thing in this patch is the Hourglass rework. I'm not going to spend much time on this because you guys have already seen the videos and it's not really something you can describe. We're just going to have to play it when it comes out and see how it actually plays. But from what I've seen in the videos, we've got like a new underground area under the arches. The arches have now been destroyed, as has the bridge, and overall it looks pretty cool. And that's pretty much all I'm going to say on it. We're going to get our hands on it on Tuesday and give it a whirl then, and as always the proof is in the pudding, so keep your fingers crossed, but I think that one's going to turn out pretty well. Now moving on to the vault weapon changes here. So they say here, with SMGs and LMGs as the final vault weapons to receive all-out warfare attachments, the rollout is now complete across all weapon categories. In addition, the P90, the AKS-74U, the PP2000, the M60E4, the XM8 LMG, the M240B, the Type 88 LMG, and the RPK-74M have also had their damage curves, dispersion, recoil behavior, and accuracy tweaked to make them feel more consistent with all-out warfare counterparts as viable and competitive options. So those weapons there that I just listed off for you, those may be the ones that you actually want to go back to and take a look, because not only will they have new attachments available, but those aforementioned attributes have been tweaked and changed, and so some of them may be a lot better than they were before, as was the case with the assault rifles. In addition to that, Vault sidearms have also received all-out warfare attachments where possible. They don't really give us any details here, so we're just going to have to wait and see. Now they also say, since this is a large rebalance injection into the game, we will be monitoring the feedback and data post-update, and we are ready to make further changes. We hope you'll enjoy discovering new ways to play as you interact with moment-to-moment engagements. So I think that's kind of like a disclaimer. They're fully expecting some weapons to be maybe more overpowered than perhaps underpowered from the wording there. So yeah, I reiterate that again, make sure you don't sleep. I will try and make a video on any weapons that are absolutely outstanding so you guys can give them a go. Again, as mentioned yesterday, of course, squad orders are going to be making it, as well as the ability for us to lock squads and remove people from squads as well. So they say, through squad orders, leaders can now issue attack or defend orders towards objectives, collaborate with your squad, and earn additional XP for successfully completing the orders. Is your squad leader not up to the task, you will now be able to take leadership duties from them if your order requests are not being acted upon. Now, I'm not sure if this was a feature in Battlefield 1 or 5 because I didn't really play those games for any considerable amount of time, but that wasn't in Battlefield 4. So how exactly are you going to be able to take over those leadership duties? Like, if you're not the leader of the squad, how do you become the leader? I don't really know. Maybe there's going to be some sort of a mutiny option where, you know, the whole squad votes, and if it's unanimous, the leader is voted off. I don't really know. Interested to see how that one pans out though. Now this one is quite easy to miss, but Rush has had one of the most impactful changes in a long time. So attackers will no longer be able to see if a defender is diffusing an MCOM through the displayed iconography, and defenders will be unable to see when attackers are arming. And the dev comment here is that there was too much reliance on this mechanic to indicate when to run in and counter the enemy. We wish to encourage objective awareness rather than icon reliance. So previously you could just wait until you saw that icon that somebody was disarming the objective or that they were arming the objective, and then you were like, okay, quick, throw in a grenade, throw in smokes, let's rush rush in and get them, and you could just stay like away from the objective in cover. That is no longer going to be possible. You're going to have to keep an eye on that objective. If there's smoke on there could be somebody arming, there could be somebody disarming, and you're actually going to have to get in there and make sure you've cleared it out. Moving on, we've got some massive changes to the ammo crate and the medic crate. So ammo and medic crates will now have a recharge time of 16 seconds down from 30 seconds. So you're going to be able to actually throw out your ammo crate or your medic crate almost twice as fast as you previously could. Now on top of that, they've made a change to how you resupply ammo. So ammo crates will now have a shared supply cooldown between other deployed ammo crates. So before you could go and, resupply from, let's say, your own ammo crate, that would then trigger the cooldown that you could see on top of the ammo crate icon, but then you could go to your squad mate's ammo crate and also take ammo from there. That cooldown is now going to be shared across all the ammo crates. However, you will now be able to supply every 15 seconds from an ammo crate instead of every 20 seconds. In addition to that, ammo crates will now give an extra magazine to both primary and secondary weapons. So I would say overall here, they've nerfed having many ammo crates together. If you go and plonk down 4 or 5 ammo crates on a breakthrough objective, you can pretty much endlessly resupply yourself. But this is a pretty big buff if you're a player that likes to run an ammo crate by yourself and you're usually only resupplying from a single crate. So the dev comment here is that we have made these changes for a couple of reasons, one being that we want to reduce instances where players are instantly gaining masses of supplies from multiple crates in a short period of time. The second being that we've heard your feedback about crate cooldowns being too long. With the aforementioned change, this allows us to lower this without breaking game balance. So that's cool, nice changes there. Now the anti-tank grenade has also seen a fix. They fixed an issue where anti-tank grenades could bounce off a vehicle without detonation while the vehicle was moving away from the thrower. I know from the comments here on my channel, I've seen a lot of you having issues with that, so good fix there. The smoke grenade is now unlocked by default at level 1, and we've also changed the default grenade of the recon and the support classes to be the smoke grenade instead of the frag grenade. So with this change, we're hoping to educate new players with the importance of smoke grenades when it comes to the aforementioned classes. Smoke grenades are your friends when it comes to support actions and concealment. And I couldn't agree more. This is actually a really smart move because I rarely see players running smoke, and in my opinion, smoke grenades are by far and above the most useful and just the best throwable in the game. You can conceal people while you're reviving them, you can conceal open areas so that vehicles can't kill you when you're running across there, you can flank. They're just, overall the best one in the game, but giving them to support players as default is kind of like a nudge, especially to newer players to Battlefield, to say, hey, if you're playing support, maybe you should be using the smoke grenades. Now, the long-awaited, or should I say dreaded, dispersion tweaks to the SMGs and the LMGs are finally here. So similar to recent dispersion changes made to assault rifles, SMGs and LMGs have now also received tweaks to their dispersion rates alongside general dispersion improvements across weaponry. So SMGs now have a higher starting dispersion, but their maximum dispersion and the rate at which it is reached is now comparable to assault rifles. The rate at which dispersion increases and the minimum dispersion while moving has also been increased for LMGs. Interestingly though, they say that Vault SMGs have also had their spread and shooting behaviour tuned to make them more consistent and viable against all-out warfare alternatives. So, some of those Vault SMGs could be now comparable and maybe even as good as some of the SMGs in the base game. And then bipods are now more effective against dispersion and recoil on LMGs to compensate for these changes. So who knows, maybe it is actually going to be useful or worth it, let's say, to equip a bipod. Now for sure, overall this doesn't really explain very well how all of the weapons are going to feel now, how bursting is going to feel on these weapons, so as usual we're just going to have to hop into the game on Tuesday when the update is released and, play it around, and I'm sure myself and Enders and Cadwoman and all these other creators will be bringing you their thoughts and my thoughts then. Okay, finally here, let's move on to the vehicle section, because this section, in my opinion, has actually had some of the most meaningful changes. So they fixed an issue with the roll rate of the F-35E Panther after using VTOL mode, which kind of like nerfed the roll rate after using VTOL, so that's good. And then the Su-57 Felon has also received some roll rate resolutions. So for those who are not aware, the speed or the rate at which you could roll the jet was much quicker on the F-35 than it was on the Su-57, and this was, you know, always a major issue. Whenever you'd sort of trained your muscle memory to be good with one jet, all of a sudden you'd get in the Su-57 and it would feel extremely sluggish and difficult to fly. So I can only assume here that they've now matched up the roll rates so that they're the same. I at least hope they haven't done the opposite and nerfed the F-35 roll rate, but instead buffed the Su-57. Also, radar missiles should no longer lock onto stealth helicopters or hit through flares. This may still happen in close ranges due to vicinity of vehicle and flare activation. So I'm sure those of you who fly jets especially regularly, you've probably noticed that radar missiles just don't really care if you flared or not. They hit you all the time. Next up, they've added directional exit to ground vehicles, allowing you to exit these vehicles from the direction you are looking at. And they've added additional exit points on the back of combat ground vehicles to allow you to exit behind the vehicle if you want to. So this may not sound important, but it's actually huge. So now the way this will work, as it has been in previous games like BF4, is that whichever direction you are facing when you hit the exit vehicle button is the side of the vehicle you are going to end up on. So let's say that you've got somebody on the right side of your vehicle who is attacking you. Before, if you exited, you had no idea where you would end up. You might just boom appear on the right side and he's just going to gun you down. Now you can simply look to the left, exit on the left side of the vehicle, and then use the vehicle as cover to go and gun down that infantry player. Same thing, of course, if somebody's trying to C5 you. Also, if you want to repair your vehicle, you can get out on the correct side so you're not in the line of fire. So really, really good change there. Next, they have fixed a long-standing issue that resulted in a black screen being present when switching between zoom in and zoom out on vehicles, as well as opening menus within vehicles. Hopefully, this is the last we see of this one. I know, especially Gravity, shout out to him, he's a good YouTuber, go check him out. But I've seen him complain about this bug so many times on Twitter. I bet he can't believe his luck this has finally been fixed. This has been a bug in more Battlefield games than I care to remember, and it seems they have finally figured out what is causing it, so that's awesome. And then the very last change here is that they fixed missing impact sounds on some vehicle weapons, including the flak 20mm and the 30mm cannon of the Wildcat. So as I mentioned, even I think in yesterday's video, whenever you're being attacked by these weapons, you didn't receive any audible feedback that you were being hit, and before you knew it, you would just die. And only once you saw the kill feed where you're like, oh, somebody was attacking me with the 20mm flak cannon. I think that may also be the reason why this weapon was vaulted, and now that it's fixed, I think they're probably going to put it back in the game. However, I do believe they've made a bit of a spelling error here. I don't think the sound problem was with the 30mm cannon on the Wildcat. I think it is actually only on the 35mm, the new one. So I'm going to assume they meant 35mm because I don't think there was anything wrong with the 30s. Overall, I think this is a really solid patch. Absolutely fantastic to see some of these long-standing bugs here getting fixed. But I am excited and I have to say somewhat skeptical on the next season of content for the game, Season 6, because I do see a trend of DICE kind of like wrapping things up here. They've brought out all the attachments now and done all of the rebalancing for the vault weapons, so maybe they're just like done with vault weapons, they're not going to release anymore. They've done all of the map reworks, that's all been wrapped up, and it feels like things are just sort of naturally coming to an end here, content-wise. So I think if we do get more content, well, we are going to get more content, Season 6, I don't think it's going to be much more than perhaps a new map and a few tweaks here and there. I would honestly be surprised if we see like a full-on season with like a new vehicle, new vault weapons, and, you know, new gadgets and all of that stuff. But hey, I could be wrong. I really do hope that I am wrong, because as somebody who still plays the game, I definitely want more content. As always, guys, leave me your thoughts below. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like as well. Subscribe for more Battlefield videos like this one. Have a good one, and I will see you guys next time. Cheers.